Yo, what is up guys, my name's Hakiii, and in this video we're gonna take a look at the fastest cars we have in the game, and some of these might actually surprise you. I did this a while ago, and so we're gonna do an updated version in this video. At the 10th spot for the fastest car in the game, we have the Corsita. Now, not talking about speed for a second, this car is absolutely stunning. I think we can all agree it is one of the most beautiful cars in the whole game, and it just makes it into the top 10 list of the fastest cars. It's fairly comfortable to drive around with the Corsita, and it's got some solid handling, especially for its speed. You're gonna notice that some of these very fast cars, they're not gonna have the best handling always. So whenever a car has some solid control along with its great speed, that's always a plus. It's gonna oversteer in turns a little bit when you go at fast speeds, but I mean, that's like that with like a lot of cars, so it's kind of understandable. With a lot of fast cars, I should say, not just a lot of cars. It's got some cool customization options as well, a decent variety, and the thing we care about a lot in this video, which is the top speed. It has a top speed of 131.5 miles per hour. Next is the overflawed Xeno. This is a relatively new car. I think it released within the past year or two, something like that. It was a drip feed vehicle, and it is a super short vehicle. It's super low to the ground, and when you get your character to stand next to it, it feels like the car barely gets to your waist. It is like that low to the ground. You can probably imagine, because it's so low to the ground, it's got some very solid traction to it, which means good handling. Not incredible, but it's definitely a nice addition to the 133.5 miles per hour top speed it has. But it does come with a price tag of close to 2.9 million bucks, so this one's a bit for the rich, I'd say. But luckily we have the next car, which is going to be a lot more affordable. It is the Banshee 900R. Now, it costs 565,000. I believe that's before the Benny's upgrade. The Benny's upgrade is going to make it cost a bit more, but ultimately it still comes out to be much cheaper than the Xeno, and it has a top speed of about 133 miles per hour. And fun fact, way back in the day, before a bunch of updates came out after it, the Banshee 900R actually used to be the fastest supercar in the game, which is very impressive. But since then we've gotten a lot of new cars that are faster, and the Banshee doesn't have great handling. It's great for drifting, but handling wise and going past turns, it's not going to be good for races. Next up is the Krieger, and this is the complete opposite when it comes to racing, because this is my go-to supercar for races. It's just an absolute beast all-arounder supercar. It's got great handling, it's got amazing speed, it's very fast. It doesn't have the amount of oversteer the Corsita has, which is good, so it makes it even easier to handle and control. It's got a similar hefty price tag to the Xeno at about 2.9 million, but I actually think it's worth it for this car just because it is my #1 choice for supercar races, and I definitely recommend it. Next one is the Torero XO. This is the supercar with the pop-up headlights that you really never see with supercars. It's got this like futuristic and very sleek look to it, and this might be the most recently released supercar. It came out in a recent DLC. The Torero has a top speed of about 131 miles per hour, and I did forget to mention the Krieger's top speed. It is at about 127.3 miles per hour. It might sound a little lower than some of the other supercars, but don't let it fool you, because I mean, going past turns with it, it's still a very fast and very good supercar to use. The Krieger is. Moving into the top 5 now, it's getting serious. We have the Devasty 8 supercar. For people on next gen, the Devasty 8 actually has an HSW version, so you can make it even faster on next gen. I really like how it handles. It's got some very good traction. It's also pretty low to the ground like the Xeno. It's hands down one of the best supercars to use for races, I would say, and that complements the very good top speed of about 132 miles per hour with it too. At the #4 spot, we have the P-Fister 811. This is a very surprisingly fast supercar. When you first look at this car, you don't really think that it's going to be one of the fastest cars there are in the game. It doesn't have those like menacing looks like the Torero XO and the Corsita have. It's just a smaller supercar, and it's a lot more narrow than a lot of the cars we've seen, and it silently carries a very good top speed of 132.5 miles per hour. And I should also probably note that the acceleration is great on this car too. Into the top 3 on the list, we have an absolutely amazing looking car, which is the Hakiii RSX. It's amazing looking, it's super fast. It came out as a drip feed car, I think about like 2 years ago during December when the map was completely snowy. I remember this car came out and I was trying to test it out, but in free mode I was just sliding around everywhere. It handles okay. It's not the greatest. It tends to oversteer when you go around turns sometimes. I definitely recommend buying this car though. It's actually a sports car, and actually none of the cars within the top 3 are supercars, which is kind of surprising. I said at the beginning of the video, you're going to be surprised by some of these. And the RSX carries a banging top speed of 135.3 miles per hour. That is very, very good for GTA. You're gonna find yourself flying across the streets of Los Santos going at top speed. In the second spot for the fastest car, we have the Pariah sports car. This thing is an absolute beast. When driving it around, I did find that it feels kind of heavy. The car itself, it's definitely not a light car whatsoever. It doesn't have the greatest traction. I would actually say it's very good for drifting, and even for people that aren't the best at drifting, it's pretty easy to drift with. Like, it's very controllable even when you're drifting around turns, and it's got a crazy top speed of 136 miles per hour. That's the highest top speed we have so far. But get ready for number 1, because in at number 1 we have the BF Weevil Custom. This is probably gonna surprise a lot of people. That's right, this random funky looking Benny's vehicle is apparently the fastest in the game. There is kind of a catch to this vehicle, but it doesn't really have to do with the top speed, which is part of what we're focusing on. This thing's top speed is ridiculous. It's got a top speed of 137.5 miles per hour. If you're asking why and how it has that, goodness knows. Don't ask me, I really don't know. But excluding cars with rocket boosts like the Vigilante and the Oppressor and stuff like that, this has the highest top speed and is considered the fastest vehicle, or just car, in the game, not vehicle. Now, the big catch with it is that the handling and steering is absolutely awful. It is so difficult to turn with this vehicle, it's not even funny. All I have to say is good luck trying to turn at high speeds, because it is so difficult and it's so slow when you actually try to turn with this thing. It has some horrible handling, and I mean, good luck if you're trying to race with it, because it is going to be a struggle. I wouldn't really recommend driving it around free mode either, but if we're looking at the speed of it, I mean, it's that fast. But just because it's that fast doesn't mean it's the best to drive around with. That's the thing. Because it's a Benny's vehicle, it's got some crazy good customization. Customization wise, hands down, this is by far the best on the list. It came out pretty recently as well, and if it came out recently and it's a Benny's vehicle, that's just a recipe for success when it comes to customizing. For some honorable mentions, because there were a lot of cars I was thinking to put in this video, but not all of them actually made it in. So we got the Italy GTO, the Entity MT, and the Coquette D10. Those are some honorable mentions for you. And now that you know GTA Online's fastest cars in 2023, click the video on screen now for the must-have vehicles you should own in 2023. I hope you all enjoy that video, and peace.